Welcome to yet another episode of the 6-week Affiliate Mastery Challenge. So today we're going to talk about funnels, landing pages, and I'll show you some examples, and lead quality and why that's important and what actually affects it. So let's talk about sales funnels. Now, conceptually, a sales funnel is just the construction that you form around your product in terms of your efforts to drive users to convert or perform some valuable action or to retain them as a customer. So it practically involves things like your ads, your landing pages, email opt-ins and subsequent emails that might come from that, user retention efforts, exit pops, remarketing, follow-up phone calls, all of these kinds of things all make up part of the sales funnel for a campaign or for a product or for a service. Now, we could draw diagrams and schematics to show what funnels are, or to show what a specific funnel looks like for a specific campaign. But it's kind of more important for you to understand the actual concepts involved here. For example, in your funnel, where people might actually fall out and your bounce and your loss rates there, points where you can actually split test to make improvements in your funnels, how tracking is an important part of funnels as well, and how your funnels can get very complex, but your tracking must be able to keep pace with that. And that funnels generally break conversions down into smaller user commitments. For example, collecting someone's email to opt them into a list, and then giving them something free, and developing a dialogue and a relationship there, then slowly pitching to them over time, and refining your prospects into people of much, much higher intent, so that you can have a much higher likelihood of conversion or market to them for years. So really the sales funnel is just kind of your way of trying to maximize how much value you actually get from every user who steps into the beginning of the funnel. And it's a holistic thing. It's from start to finish. So your funnel just doesn't start at your landing page and end at some email submit. Your funnel is kind of the entire process from start to finish. It's like when you walk into IKEA, right? If you've ever been to IKEA, the moment you walk in the door to the actual the floor, as they call it, you're in their funnel. And this funnel is very well designed to weave you through the sections so that you never miss anything. You're exposed to as many purchasing opportunities as possible. They make it as easy as possible to actually retain you in their funnel. You literally can't escape, and there's only a few shortcuts. They place various bags and trolleys and things along the way. And once you get through the actual display area and you get down to the warehouse, that's where you do your final conversions in terms of actually putting things into a trolley that's all boxed up. So they kind of separate their funnel into the impression side of being able to view the products that you may want, and then they conveniently make the purchasing side or the actual transport side all the way at the very end, so that, say, if you find a table and you want it, you don't actually have to carry it until the very end from some sort of shelf. So IKEA's kind of got a very, very smart and effective and practical sales funnel in terms of people actually walking into their store and walking out with furniture. Now, remember earlier we talked about how variables can have compounding effects on conversion rates. So if you have a complex funnel with lots of different conversion points, then it becomes really vital, or at least very beneficial, to improve the conversion rates at all of those steps in your funnels, or conversely, reduce your actual leak, your bounce, your loss rates to improve how many people actually stay within your funnel. Now, there's a few links here that I'll provide as resources too that give you some perspective on funnels from people in the web app and software companies industries. And they tend to have very large funnels, which are a bit different to the affiliate marketing funnels that we deal with, but it's quite interesting to get their perspective on things. Now, there are a lot of services out there that actually try to help you build these nice funnels. The tracker that we're actually using, Funnelflux, that is obviously has a really nice visual builder for funnels. It's kind of got funnel in the name, so it probably caters to funnel creation in some way. That helps you make really complex but really well-crafted funnels as well. And then you can get companies like Lead Pages and ClickFunnels where they try to integrate everything together. So they make it easy for you to run Facebook ads to a web page which has an email submit, which adds people to a list, and then you have follow-up emails and remarketing in various ways. There's companies that kind of focus on trying to make these clean, easy to work with funnels for actually selling to prospects, although they're not that great in terms of the direct response affiliate marketing campaigns that we do, but they do have their uses. Now, let's talk about landing pages. So what is a landing page? It is just a web page and one that you use to sell things. It's probably not even one you use to sell things. Landing page is a pretty generic term, but for us, these are the pages that we use to try and sell things and enhance our chances of actually converting a prospect. So why is that useful or important? Well, first of all, selling people with just a banner is hard. Having someone just glance at a banner for like half a second or 1 second and then click on it and selling them some product or service in that instant, that's not easy. So you're almost never going to get a banner that direct links to a conversion, right? The banner's always going to go to some advertiser's landing page, where that landing page then tries to actually convert that user to do something instead. Now, landing pages are also a much, much bigger piece of screen real estate that we can actually exploit. So we can send someone to a much larger area where we can actually play on their attention, and we can highlight the benefits of some product or service, or the reasons why they would be foolish not to use this product or service. So we get a lot more time to actually engage with and convert that user and encourage them to actually do something. Now, on the design side and the technical side, we can also do a lot more testing in terms of ad copy and psychological drivers for conversion, persuasion. We can split test headlines, we can have videos, we can do all of this kind of stuff in landing pages to actually really push and try and get these people to convert and actually optimize things to a great extent. And this helps us sell. Now, we can't do that with banners so easily because, again, the real estate is very, very limited. So how do they get involved? Well, we design and make them, and then we save them locally, after which we upload them to some site or some server, or perhaps even a content delivery network where we host them and then access them through some URL to use in our campaigns. Now, I've already shown you how to do this with your server, so hopefully it should come as no shock or surprise in terms of how to actually upload landers and use them. Now, here are some key concerns for landing pages for you affiliate marketers. So the first thing is speed. Landers should be fast, or they should load fast. All else being equal, the landing page that loads the fastest for a user will generate more revenue. This is something which all affiliate marketers know, and it's kind of like a cardinal, or it's kind of like one of the maxims of affiliate marketing. Everyone kind of knows this, and to give you some data there, I think Amazon actually tested the load times of their actual shopping cart pages. I think they found a reduction from an average of like 4 seconds to 3 seconds. Actually saved them or made them something like millions, tens of millions of dollars of more revenue. So they were like, yeah, speed. Let's go with speed. The second thing is usability. So does it display on the device that the user is using? So if you've got a mobile landing page, does it display properly on the iPhone? Does it display properly on the Android devices that people are using? If they're on desktops, does it display in Chrome and Firefox? Fine. Is it easy to read and understand what you actually want from me, from the user's perspective? So when someone actually lands on your page and they're reading it, is it kind of easy to understand what on earth they even are meant to do? As a marketer making these landing pages, you should always make sure that it's very clear what action you want the user to actually take. Usually it's clicking on your call to action button. Ad copy, that's the kind of one of the most primary raw components of your landing pages, your words that sell. And then split testing. So you should always split test landers. So this is one of those key things that you should always be doing as well, or one of the things that you should always have in mind. So let's have a look at some examples of landing pages you might see around on the internet. First one is Dropbox.com, so we'll pop that up and show you. So as you can see, their lander is pretty straightforward, and it's extremely simple. There's very little ad copy. Now the thing is, Dropbox can get away with this. Why? Because they're a market leader. People who are coming to Dropbox.com, usually, or at least like 95% of them, are going to know exactly what Dropbox does already, and they're going to want to actually use Dropbox or some similar service. So by the time they've got into this page, chances are Dropbox knows from their data and their testing that they don't need a lot of sales copy, because people are kind of pre-qualified to convert because they're looking for a service like Dropbox. That's not going to be the case for most campaigns that we work with. Now, the second one I want to show you was this Truth About Abs landing page as well. Now, Truth About Abs is absolutely huge. That has done so much revenue over the years, and it's probably, I don't know, it might be the most successful ClickBank offer of all time. I'm not even sure. It's definitely the most successful abs-related offer of all time. Now, if you look at this page, there's a few things that hopefully you can notice. First of all, they're very cartoonish, sort of freehand type font at the top, which it's a terrible font like for any sort of professional purposes, but it tends to work well. They use strategic coloring of their fonts. They also use strategic highlighting and emboldening and underlining because it works. So this puts stress on the various words and sentences, and it's kind of a part of ad copy, this kind of thing. Now this page is a video sales letter, so we have a video in the middle here, which obviously will load when you're actually on that landing page. And this is a very typical type of landing page now, where for the most part it's the video that does a lot of the selling, and the headline draws people in to want to actually watch it. Now here's another one from this website here, truthaboutabsgeary.com, and this is what we call a fake blog or a flog. Now it is basically a review site, or sort of like a blog of some guy reviewing Truth About Abs, and these landing pages can be pretty effective as well, and they leverage various things like social proof, sort of personalization, adding some sort of persona and character to the dialogue and the person actually telling the story. And then you'll have various other elements of the landing pages that they use. So you can browse through those yourself to get an idea of what these kinds of landers are constructed like. Now, one thing you should be aware of is the fact that these kinds of fake articles and fake blogs, but more so fake news article sites, I don't recommend really getting into those. They can cause a bit of trouble, and they, well, at least in the US or on US soil, they're kind of under the scrutiny of the FTC, with the FTC not liking these types of misleading articles, which kind of mislead users into thinking they're on an authoritative news-based site. Now, moving on from that, let's look at some typical digital products, for example, those from ClickBank. So seriously, just go to ClickBank and click on various things and actually open the landing pages there to see the kind of landing pages that these digital products actually deal with. Now here's an example of a teeth whitening offer, and these are usually quite long sales letters where they're in a single column, and they use all the hallmarks and traits of this ClickBank sales letter. So you can see they have this large headline at the top, which they kind of always have this similar format in terms of the way they actually bring users in and try and hook them, reel them in to actually read the sales letter. And now, one thing you should be aware of is that long copy almost always outperforms short, period. This has been factually proven in many situations. There are exceptions, which I'll get onto, but for these sales letters on ClickBank, for example, they have probably tested a lot of variations, and the fact is, generally, the really, really long copy where it's a story that goes on forever and it has testimonials, it has all these things, rewords the same content 7 different times. These just tend to work better. Now, there are exceptions. I said long copy works better than short copy. Fact, this is a fact in most situations, but there's many situations where this is not true. So, for example, banners. You can't fit a ton of copy on banners, and typically less is more. You don't want to have like a headline like on that teeth whitening sales letter in a banner or a small mobile banner, because that's just going to be terrible. And then you need to be mindful of the amount of screen real estate people have and what people are actually doing. So if you've sent someone to a gaming app ad, for example, so it's a banner about gaming and they click on that, they go to a little landing page. They probably don't want to read 3 paragraphs about why they should play this game. They probably want to see just a big, nice, interesting looking image and a click here to download button. So that's kind of a mobile specific situation. And it's generally on mobile that shorter copy kind of does a bit better, especially with like app installs and things. But if you're trying to sell something that's a high ticket product and there's a higher barrier to conversion there, this is where long copy is really going to excel versus short. But even though I said that, remember, always split test. Never just take it on faith or on historical data that this version of your copy is always going to beat that version with a different demographic, a different offer, a different campaign, a different traffic source. Seriously, just test it. Now, if you want to find other landing pages to give yourself inspiration or an idea of what might work and what others are doing, seriously, just go and be a user. So just go browse the internet and click on ads and see what landing pages you actually come up with. Now, anything you find in the wild that looks really useful, take a screenshot of it, add it to what we call a swipe file, and reference it later. You can also use these for inspiration in terms of making your own landers, or you can download them and use them as a template, but you do need to be a bit careful with that.